Well, I was planning on going live at 9, but I can't wait another 22 minutes. So Mrs. Biggins over there demanded that I go on live now.
You can ask your people if anybody's ever had bulgogi.
Has anybody ever had bullshit? What?
Bulgogi.
Bulgogi. What is it?
It's a spicy beef dish.
A spicy beef dish. Well, it's just one person in here now, the real crazy punk. I'm sure there's a story behind that name. Some of the sexually explicit names are interesting too. Hi, Mark. There's Eric again. Thank you, Eric, for your donations. Last night I played a whole movie and got $10 from one person. But to be honest with you, many of these names I see that come up here have already donated, so that's plenty. Hi, Annie.
I finished the book I was reading.
What was the book?
Air of Fire.
Air of Fire. Was it good? Do you recommend it?
Yes, I do, but it's the third book of the series.
What's the first book?
Throne of Glass.
Throne of Glass. Is it like Game of Thrones?
Yes, a fantasy book.
It's a fantasy book. Hi, Danny. Annie says hi, Holly.
Hello.
So, today we watched the latest episode of Billions. Fucking writer. It's that Sorkin kid.
I'm ready for it to be over.
And also we watched a movie called Boy Erased, Russell Crowe. It's like I'm on a Russell Crowe kick. I think that's why it came up in the suggestions. He's a pastor. His son is gay. They send him to conversion therapy. And anyway, his son winds up at, well, I'm not going to give the spoiler.
Did you see the pictures at the end of the real people?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were looking.
Yeah, I saw some of them.
They were very kind.
And casting.
Yes.
Yes. I love when these people cast somebody in a film. Like, for instance, what's his name? Franco was made up, and he looked like that guy in The Disaster Artist.
You mean The Room?
Yeah. No, it was called The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, but the movie they were making.
I know. Stop correcting me in front of everyone.
So.
Yeah, well, I had a follower for a while that kept saying, "Oh, I'm best friends with Tommy Wiseau. I'm best friends. I want to introduce you. I want to introduce you." I watched that movie. I don't want to meet that fucking guy. Yeah, the guy's got drive.
But he's weird.
But the guy's out there, and I can tell you, he doesn't want to work with somebody. He wants to do his own thing, which is cool. I understand that. I was asked by somebody to fly to England and be in their horror film. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And I told him no. And he kept asking. I said, "Well, what's your budget?" He goes, "Well, we could put you up when you get here." So I'm going to buy my own plane ticket, fly there, be in their movie, and stay in somebody's what? House? No. That's how real horror movies start.
That's how Hostel starts.
I'm a god-darn celebrity. All right. Hi, Dustin. Pope's Exorcist was good, Annie.
We have more people now, so you can ask them about the bulgogi.
Has anybody had bukkake?
Bulgogi.
Oh, no, that's a sex act. Bulgogi.
Bulgogi with a G.
Bilgogi. I apologize for bukkake. That was from the days I used to listen to Howard Stern. Hi, Deb. Deb Deb. Why is your name not Deb or Deb Deb Deb? Why is it Deb Deb? Did I say hi to you, Les? Eric said he's never heard of bulgogi. Oh, by the way, when I was in Walmart this morning, the Bulldog was out again.
It's very popular. They sell, I've heard, like the single packages in dollar stores sometimes.
Well, you've got 15. How many you got left?
I have plenty. We only had 2.
Well, hello, Les. So I was working on, oh, this, by the way, people, is Bad Barbie's friends. That's Popeye and that's Humpty Dumpty. I don't know who the others are. So Les says, hello, Nigel. Hello, Holly. You know who was in the room last night? Melody. And she was nice to me. I just think I had a paranormal experience. I was sitting in my chair and it just started going dook, 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 dook. Southern California, or any of my fans from California out here right now, that they're getting hammered by rain, and the wind 60 miles an hour isn't crazy, but it's still the rain. And they had an earthquake on top of it all. So today we went to Dunkin', then we went to Walmart, then we went to, you know what? I bought this real cheap folding ottoman that I wanted to put under here so I can put my legs up. But it's downstairs. Well, Florida's begging to be hit by hurricanes because it's just sticks out there like a dangler. Ingen Joe says, greetings from Texas. Greetings, Ingen. Oh, Deb Deb says no reason for Deb Deb and not Deb or Deb Deb Deb. And she says, hi, Holly.
Well,
Eric says, I'm in California. The rain is pretty nice. I was asleep when the earthquake happened. I thought it was just an earthquake in my dreams. Well, it was in your dreams, but it was also happening for real.
ew.
What?
It's a tattoo. I thought it was on right above somebody's butt crack, but it's not.
That happens. So we've seen no sign of the cat since that night last week. But we'll keep an eye out.
Did you hear that Saint is gonna...
Yeah, hang on, I'll get to that. Hello, Holly, Nigel. I hope you both had a nice day. Fender's okay. Acute anaphylaxis shock. Definitely emergency. I'm getting EpiPen ASAP. Doctor said he ingested a centipede or a black widow. He was lucky.
Oh my God.
You're very lucky. Fender's lucky. Hello, Cherie. We are outside, Dustin. I'm on the back deck. Dustin, what was it? Didn't you receive an award for acting recently or something? We're on the back deck. That's Cricket's live time.
Oh, I have another bit of trivia.
Oh, NSYNC's getting back together with Justin Bieber. What's his name?
Justin Timberlake. Is
Justin
not
Timberlake.
he's not part of the tour.
I thought they said he's recording a song now.
Maybe, but he's not going on tour.
All right, what do you?
It's- Well, supposedly you can tell if you're drinking something that's been poisoned.
Yeah, you die.
No, you taste cinnamon.
That's not all poisons, though.
A lot of poisons that people ingest that kill them has a flavor of cinnamon.
You think rat poison tastes like cinnamon?
I don't know.
I'm going to keep a lookout because you prepare our dinner every day.
I do.
Injun Joe says bulgogi is thinly shaved prime rib Korean food. Very good. His wife's favorite.
See?
So Mrs. Biggins asked if anybody had that. And now Injun Joe has.
I've seen many people make it, and most of them make it differently. So I was just curious.
Most people make it differently. Then it's not bulgogi. There's only one way to make the bowl. Yeah, those Canadian wildfires down here, a couple times over the summer, we've had the sky was hazy. But June, when we went to the FrankenCon, it was really bad. Okay, so Dustin, who's in Facebook, who's here on Facebook, said he was up for the best local actor. Oh, he's up for it. Haven't won yet.
Good luck.
Mrs. Biggins said good luck. I'm going to do something while we're here. Well, I'm going to do it on another screen now.
Is it dirty?
No, stop. How dare you?
I don't know what was so terrible about that you needed.
It was disgusting.
Right.
You're so vulgar to me and in front of my Benites.
Good luck.
All right, it should be working. Oops, hang on. New comments. The chats are on in 3 different places. YouTube, we have the most viewers on. Most of the people are here through YouTube. And then some of you are here through Bad Ben Movie, and some of you are here through Nigel Bach on Facebook. So the people that are on in each of those areas, when they comment, they can see other people in that room's comments. So an update on the Tom Riley Talkers. They're finally shipping. They're supposed to be here by September 10th. I have 29 orders to fulfill that I've had since March. But when I ordered them, I ordered 60 of them. So, but I'm not putting them up for sale until I'm not taking pre-orders because this has been too long. And if for some reason they don't show up, I'd rather have to refund 30 people than refund 60 people. But I think we should add I should add a couple more sayings to there, like, "Oh, I took a load to the face." That was Scott. Is that a weed whacker? That's a funny line from the movie, too. Les, you're making me blush. Which line? Is that a weed whacker or the other one? I don't want to say it again because it was dirty. Oh, I took a load to the face. I said it again anyway. Ah! I don't know. I'm looking out there at the front sidewalk and I can't see the cat food tonight. The next film, Schmack Dynamite. Is that what you're asking me? What the next film is? The next one will be Badder Ben.
Oh, you're a fucking asshole.
Who? Me? Who's an asshole?
An asshole bitch.
Who?
Somebody on TikTok.
That bitch. Do I hate her too?
Sure.
I hate you. I need to robust the TikTok page. I used to love Vine.
I never watched anything on mine. That's where Dad's got his start, by the way.
And that's what TikTok became, I think. Is it breathing? That's another line I should add. I can add a lot more lines to the Tom Riley Talker. And those of you that already purchased it, I can show you where to download them and robust your collection.
Robust.
You know, I had a guy donate $100 months ago. And then he writes me, I donated $100. Can you send me a set of the Blu-rays? Which is $85 and then like $6 for shipping. So $91. So and he was kind of douchey about it, if I'm being honest. Now I appreciate all donations. I have a lady that sent $1 to me, and that means a lot because I know that that's a lot of money to her. It's a lot of money to me. But I said, so you made this big deal about donating $100 when in reality you donated $9. I sent him a set of Blu-rays just to shut him up.
People suck.
The final straw, and I almost considered this, refunding him $9. $9. 85, and it's like $6 for shipping, maybe $7. It could have been $8, depending on where he lived. Well, it was kind of, look, anytime you donate to somebody something or you contribute to something, it's basically charity. But to sit there and make, like, I make a fuss about every donation because they all matter. They all help me continue to create for you. But to make the big deal he made about it, and then, like, I made a big deal about it, and then to ask for, why not just donate? Why not just buy the Blu-ray set and donate $5? Yeah, it sounds like I'm being critical of donations, so I shouldn't really say that. And so tomorrow begins another week. All these things, by the way, all these I found in an old toy box in the basement that came from my old house. So I'm wondering which me or which of my sisters played with these, or if we all did. It's Popeye, and then and that's Humpty Dumpty at the bottom. I don't know what those other things are. But they're terrifying. Squatch says he hoped I chubbed those Blu-rays. Does that mean what I think it means?
Yes.
Squatch. That's something a person from Chicago would say.
Why am I here for this film?
What film?
Filth.
You're here because, let me tell you something. They don't hear it all. But that mouth of yours needs some washing out with soap.
I said, why am I here for this filth?
Tiffany Boots is here, everyone. Everyone, Tiffany Boots. Old blue hair.
I keep fucking seeing this dude.
Who?
Hosier.
Who?
I'm not a fan of Hosier. Why is every fucking night I see all his videos?
Who is he?
Hosier. He's an Irish singer.
Hosier, an Irish singer.
He's got a big head and
What?
ginormous ears.
What's
His
wrong with
ears
big
are
heads?
Like half the size of his head.
Look at the size of this freaking dome.
You have normal ears, though.
Yeah, I do. I can make my ears move. What? Hang on.
Oh, stop it.
Can you say it?
Yes, stop it.
It's pretty hot, isn't it?
No. It's creepy.
It's pink now. Old pink hair here. Annie says hi, Tiffany, but she's on Facebook, so I don't think you can say it. I'm going to write these jerk-offs and ask them how I can get all these comments to show on screen. I can manually do it, but it's a pain in the butthole.
Say butthole again.
Butthole. There's Juan, everyone. Juan's here. Hello, Juan. Hundred-acre wildfire erupts in Wharton Forest in Camden County. Ugh, that's just west of here, too.
Did you hear about what happened with the shots in Millville? Did you find anything out about that?
No. Here, let's take some live calls. I like live calls. They're risky.
All right, I'm going to bed.
No, I'm only staying on for another hour. Let's see. Everybody talks to each other here. Oh, wait. Call in live. 97268. Hang on. Don't call yet. I've got to. All right, you can call in now if you want to.
Flesh-eating bacteria in New York.
Ah,
3 people have died.
well, you got to swim in poop water to get that.
Oh, we didn't get the salad stuff.
I'm going to see if anybody wants to call in live. There's the number, I think. Don't worry, people. I don't make fun of anyone. I only get made fun of. I'm not wearing shorts, by the way. I'm not wearing underwear either. I'm just down there. It's just, I got socks on. Just kidding.
Did you know that in Asia, they sell, at the McDonald's, they sell spaghetti in a bowl or like in a cup at the McDonald's?
That's fascinating. Now, Asia is big. Do you mean China?
I don't know specifically. There was a white dude from Australia who was in Asia, and he was eating stuff from McDonald's, and he had a cup of spaghetti that looked disgusting.
Eric Griffin says you can get birthday cakes at McDonald's too. Are any of you old enough to remember when McDonald's had party rooms? I went to more than one birthday party at McDonald's as a small littling. We'd go in the back room, we'd lose our freaking minds. I think we got like a hamburger or a cheeseburger and a small fry and a soda, and we brought gifts, and we got that you would have to bring your own cake. Remember when there were Carvel stores? Oh, I love Carvel. It was out. I worked at Bradley's, and there was Carvel right there in the mall, in the strip.
I like their ice cream sandwiches, the Carvel ice cream sandwiches.
I don't think I had all kinds of ice cream cakes. You can still get them in grocery stores. Acme has them.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, no, I'll tell you that later. McDonald's in Hawaii has Spam on the menu.
Spam is very popular in Hawaii.
Yeah, you can cook it right in your front lawn. In Maui.
It's terrible.
That's terrible. I know. It's too soon. Too soon, Nigel. You big bald-headed bastard.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. I saw you. I can see you because your phone's lighting up your face, and I can lip read. What? I saw what you just said.
What I say?
You said, shut up, because you're mean to me. Here comes the call.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Hang on, I'm putting you on speaker. Hello? Hang on a second. I'm trying to get you on speaker. All right, hang on. I'm sorry. I think I have the volume turned down. Oh, yeah, I do. Hi, you're on with Nigel. Who's this?
Hi, this is Tiffany.
Tiffany Boots. Old pink hair.
Sir. Yeah.
What's going on? Can you all hear Tiffany? Let me move the phone over here. What's going on, Tiffany?
Hi, Dennis. Not a whole lot. Just kind of relaxing.
Now, where are you? What part of the country? Don't give your address because some of these people can get weird.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of the weirdest, so I can't really hurt myself.
I seriously doubt that.
I live in a place called Elwood City, PA, which is about 45 minutes northwest of Pittsburgh.
Oh, so you're next door.
Yeah.
How's the wildfire smoke been for you from Canada?
Lately it hasn't been too bad, but I just drove back from where the heck was I? Michigan. I went to Michigan for the weekend, and it was kind of smoky up there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a coincidence or anything.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
I've been to Michigan once. I was to a place called Battle Creek, which is where Tony the Tiger, Kellogg's is at. And
Okay.
And the weirdest thing I
Right.
saw in Michigan were the squirrels were black.
I thought I saw a black one. I thought I was losing my mind. I almost swore. I stopped myself.
No, we
I thought I saw a black one, and I thought I was crazy.
our squirrels are all gray here, but there were black squirrels there.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Squatch Rider.
Now I know I'm not completely nuts.
Squatch Rider says he has people in State College, PA.
That is
Wait, you cut out.
further toward the middle of the state.
That's further in towards the middle of the state. We have some
Yeah.
up here. There's deaf ones in New York City. There's deaf. Are you saying there's definitely ones in New York City, or are you saying the squirrels are deaf? I think they mean that's Les said that.
I'm reading the comments while I'm watching it. I have my TV muted, but I'm watching this.
Well, I think there's a slight delay too. So some people that have, like Swatch called in the other night, and he had to turn off. I think it was Swatch. He had to turn off his volume on the computer because of the delay. Cherie said in Montana, our squirrels are brown. And Tori,
We have brown and red mostly.
red, like
Yeah.
ginger, orange, red, or red.
Yeah, like definitely not brown. They're like orangey red.
Well, Tori says in southwestern Ontario, Canada, we have black, gray, and occasionally red squirrels here. So you're like the United Nations of squirrels up there in Canada. I think there's just a mix around the Les says. Well, you guys all have possums, right?
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever seen a possum with its babies all over its back?
I haven't, but I'm always, anytime I see one that's hit, unfortunately, I always debate whether I should pull over and check its pouch, but then I remember I can't afford that right now.
Well,
I want to help, but I feel bad.
The possum, prior to Sable and Archer, Sable will kill anything. So we keep the wildlife out of the backyard because she's insane. But prior to Sable and Archer, I had two dogs, Byron and Duke. And there used to be, I called him Pete, but apparently he was Apollo because one day she was always in the backyard, the possum, and Duke would go out and I'd look, and a possum would do like they say, it would play possum. It would roll over and lay there like it's dead. And Duke would stand there over it because Duke was huge and just look down at it, and I knew the possum was out there. So one night I look and the possums go, I let the dogs out and the possum decides to take off, and it's waddling really funny. And it got to the fence where it could squeeze under, and all the babies scraped off its back when it went under the fence.
Aww.
And then the babies scurried under the fence and climbed back on her, and she went her way.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see.
Were they okay? Were
Yeah,
the babies
yeah,
okay?
yeah. The dog, Duke one time ate a turtle, which was upsetting to me. He came up to me,
Oh my God.
and I saw blood on his face, and I'm like, "What happened?" And then I looked and I saw the turtle, and I was very upset.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
I can't even
did
imagine.
icons, and they never hatched. But we, for like 3 years in a row, we're close to the water, like the marshes and all. It's like you can't walk out back here and get in a boat, but it's a pretty big creek, but it's like salt water. And we have these turtles come up and they climb up on my front lawn because, from seeing the house, how it's a hill at the front of my house, and
Yeah.
they would bury their eggs. You would see them turn around. It's like ping pong balls coming out the back of their shell, and with their flippers, they, sweep the dirt over them. And then I think they said 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 80 days, maybe it was, I read online. So I put like fence around it so that it didn't get stepped on, or the lawnmower didn't run over it. But never in the 3 years did I see them hatch. The ground wasn't torn up, to indicate they had hatched, and I didn't see them. It's just like they laid the eggs and nothing happened with them. But have you ever? Do you have wild turkeys?
Yes, we before I left the one position at my at my work to work at home, I worked on site, and they had turkey up there that would stalk you. So, like, if you were in the parking lot and you heard them hanging out over the hill, you better get going before they saw you, because they would chase you up the front door.
Well,
they actually cornered my car the one time I was leaving to go out. I didn't know what was going on. One of them came out and literally stopped right in the middle of right in front of my car. And then another one came out and flanked to the side. And I just sat there watching, because I was obviously not going to hit them, but I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't want them attacking my car either. But here they were guarding my car so that their flock could cross across the pathway in front of me.
Well,
so I just kind of waited.
We have wild turkeys.
They'll attack you. They were mean.
And they gobble, and Sable loses her mind. But I got to tell you, and they're the ugliest things, but I got to tell you, they have the cutest babies.
Yeah.
I mean, they are cute. And every year here in May, we have the ducks down in this city, down where we go to Dunkin' Donuts. It's only actually it's probably a mile and a half in a straight line, but we have to go around the marshes, and there's all these ducks, and they have their babies every spring. You going to bed? How dare you? What's that in your hand? Kabuka?
Yeah.
All right. Holly's going to bed.
Hi, Holly.
They had. She said hi. They have their babies, and traffic is so disciplined in the area. It's such a thing that you never. I mean, we might see, and we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of these ducks, Canadian geese, every year, and you might see one that might get hit by a car or something, but it's people are so careful and they stop and the babies cross. And one of the things people do a lot is when the ducks cross the road, the babies can't hop up the curve. So people will get out of their car and they don't get, the mother doesn't attack the people, but they'll like help whatever baby duck can't get up the curb. And one guy this past year, not here, but I read this, he got out to help ducks and everybody was applauding him and his family was there and a car hit him and killed him.
Oh no. That got dark real quick.
Yeah, I know that took a turn. You were expecting happiness from me. But no, around here people are real protective of the ducks, and we had a coyote get hit by a car out here, and they are some like weird looking animals. But we have foxes and they'll have babies, and you can tell when the mother's approaching the nest because all the babies start crying out.
Aw.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Les says that's horrible that I said that, but it's a story. Just be careful if you get out to help nature. I helped the turtle this year. We have a lot.
I thought I heard you say that.
We were driving home. We were on our street, and there was a turtle on the road, and I got out, and you're always supposed to put them in the direction they're headed. So, like, even if they just entered the road, if they're headed this way, you got to pick them up and take them that way.
Or else they'll get lost, right?
Yep.
So they can't find their way.
But we have a lot of, and it's not so much our road. We have box turtles cross our road, but around down over where the bay is here, we have a lot of these water turtles crossing the road all the time, and they put up signs. Okay. And there's a town, somebody in here is going to know this. There's a town that has, like, every year, the tens of thousands of crabs cross the road. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen videos of that. I've never seen it in person or anything, but yeah, that's crazy.
Well, this town where it happens actually built a little, like, overpass. And what they did was they made this giant, like, by giant, I mean in the size of it, not the height of it, like a funnel that would drive all the crabs down to this one point where they would go under like an underpass that was built for them so that these crabs don't get run over.
That's wonderful. That's like those overpasses that they make now for wildlife to cross in a lot of different states. I wish they would make some of those out here, but no luck. Well,
are you familiar with this?
They're not very nice to the wildlife when it comes to driving, and it's very upsetting a lot of times because there's always baby fawns and things like that, and it's just awful.
Well, people are pretty cool about it here, but if you have to drive north of where I live in New Jersey, up the park, like the parkway is, and the deer are right up on the side of the road eating. But a lot of people that, say they start work at like 7 or 8 a.m. and at certain times of the year, it's, it's dark that time in the morning, or it's just like sunrise and the deer will run into the road, and people get their cars totaled hitting these things sometimes. But
that happens a lot out here. Dusk and dawn are the worst hours.
Down the road about, probably a quarter mile from our house is an open field where we always have to watch for deer because they're in there and they run across we have deer come up in the backyard here. Not so much. Sable will start losing their mind. We'll look out there and there's either turkeys or a deer. But, we have deer come right up in the backyard. And people hunt them at certain times of the year. And, in one regard, it's like, oh, they're hunting. But in the other regard, it has to happen for control.
Yeah.
Eric,
if not, it gets really bad out here.
Eric Griffin said, if you kill a desert tortoise here in Southern California, it's $250,000 fine.
Wow. Are they endangered?
I guess but I think they're kind of big though, aren't they? I don't know. Eric would have to answer that question. I don't think they're.
I always have this. Oh, go ahead.
Well, Tori also said Christmas Island National Park has a crab crossing.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys familiar with seagulls?
With what?
Seagulls? They're the birds like you see at beaches. They're usually black heads with or white heads with white bodies and gray wings. And
oh, okay, yeah.
They are all over down here, and they will pick up clamshells. When you're down near the beach and all, you'll see businesses, and the roofs are covered in clamshells because they pick up the clams and drop them to break the shells, and then they eat the clam.
Oh my goodness. We have a lot of them. The one, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you were saying for a minute there because of a little bit of a distortion. But the seagulls out here, for some reason, even when they hover around Walmart parking lots, and I never found out why. Even when there's no body of water around, they're just chilling in a Walmart parking lot.
That's because
I've never
people.
Never got an answer to that question. Why?
That's because there's food. They're scavengers. They're like rats with wings.
I used to think that the closer they are to water, the more you would see them. But there are these places, they're just in the middle of nowhere, and there they are.
Well, if I was like around the corner here and I went to McDonald's and I got French fries, Les even just mentioned this. If you throw one French fry out the window, you are swarmed.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I remember when I was a kid, we took a vacation to Ocean City, Maryland, and they would swoop down and just literally steal it right out of your hands.
Right. Well, it's the boardwalk here in Atlantic City and Ocean City. They specifically have rules to not feed the seagulls, but people, there's all kinds of videos of this, and I've witnessed this. People will get a slice of pizza and walk out, and a seagull will come right down and swipe it off their paper plate.
I saw a video, the one seagull took a whole pizza?
I don't know, but...
I was wondering if it was fake or not, but I know, I've seen them take definitely whole slices of pizza. I was out in Atlantic City a few years ago, and I was walking the beach and the boardwalk, and it was cool to go back down on the sand and see all the shells that had the holes in them from their beaks, picking through to try to eat whatever was in there.
Well, like I said, a lot of especially you'll notice if somebody has a black roof, you'll notice all over the shingles are these clamshells because the seagulls have dropped them to break them open, and the sidewalk also. But it's all over roofs, and they just, I guess they pull them out and eat them. But I love clams.
I've never eaten one.
Well, first of all, if you've never eaten one, they look weird. So once you eat one, you either like them or you don't like them. But I have the perfect way to cook clams for anybody listening out there. People will go through this steaming routine where they have a pot and they start a fire and they put a grate in there and put the clams on. You don't have to do that bullshit. What you do is you get one of those disposable foil pans, and get one that's the size that'll fit on your gas grill, and you don't even have to put water in it. You put that on your gas grill, you throw the clams in there, and in 8 minutes with the gas grill on high, they will all be open. because they have water right in their shells. And so they cook right in their shells. Now, Tori says clam chowder. Now, there is Manhattan clam chowder, and then there's New England clam chowder.
New England.
New England is the happening shit. The Manhattan clam chowder, they had to be different, but no. That's the red stuff. The white stuff is cool. And there's this place down here in Cape May that's got, you buy, the clam chowder's just, it's everything there is so good. Every year at Christmas, my buddy Mike goes down there to get his wife a gift certificate at this store she likes. And we've also gone down there before in like the spring or the fall. I avoid the shore towns in the summer. Like, it'll be another month till I venture over to any of those places. And but they have this place, and it's just, they have these huge fishing trawlers that are pulled up to the dock. It's good if you like seafood, but yeah, we take possession of the area again in about another 4 weeks after Labor Day. But the year of the pandemic, that first fall, and even in the spring, people that owned vacation homes down here or were renting houses or coming to their vacation homes in like March and staying until November or December because, the kids weren't in school. They were doing on their computers, they were doing their schoolwork, so they could do that anywhere. So most of our people that own homes down here come from like Philadelphia. So they would be, they were all down here in their vacation homes to get out of the city. I get the Lobster House. That's it, Schmeck. He said that's the place I was telling you about down in Cape May.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyway, thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's nice to finally talk to you.
Yes, it's nice to finally talk to the real 22 minutes we've been talking.
That's awesome. I wanted to call in the other night, but I was at my second job. I work 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at home, and then on my last break for that job at 3:45, I change my clothes. So when I log off and shut down my computer at 4:30, I go to my second job and work 5 to 10:30. So when I get online in the evening, I'm usually in one of the classrooms cleaning, watching you guys.
Oh God. Well, thank you. You can always put the, if you have AirPods, put them in, or at least one.
Yeah.
So, but
I tried, but thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been nice talking to you, and we'll talk again soon.
You too. Good night, everybody. Good night, Facebook people.
She said good night. All right. See you. Well, I actually got to finally talk to the real Tiffany Boots. How about that? So I'm actually going to turn that phone off now. And get back to you guys. Eric says, good night, Tiffany. And my uncle used to work on those clamming boats out there. Yeah, we also down there in Cape May have the Coast Guard training station. Funny story about the Coast Guard. Years ago, when I was in the Air National Guard, I was enlisted for 9.5 years. Then I got a commission. So I was a lieutenant, then a second lieutenant, then a first lieutenant, then a captain. And I was active duty working for the Guard, so I could go to the Coast Guard base for medical and dental. So I went down there because I had a sinus infection. And when I called and made my appointment, and those of you that have military affiliations probably know this. In the Army, the Navy, and the Marines, a captain, you have second lieutenants, first lieutenants, then captains, then major, then lieutenant colonel, then colonel, then general. But in the Navy, or in the sea services like the Navy and the Coast Guard, a captain is the same rank as a captain is a colonel. So you'll have like ensign, lieutenant, JG, junior grade, lieutenant. So a lieutenant is the same as a captain in the Army, Navy, and the Marines. Or I'm sorry, in the Army, Air Force, and Marines. But in the Coast Guard, a captain is a very high rank. It's just one below admiral. So when I called to make my appointment, I gave my rank, Captain Bach. And when I get down there, I go to the park and I see a parking spot right up front that says Captain Bach. And I said, there's a captain here named Bach? I said, that's weird. So I parked in a regular spot and I walk in and they're like ready to take me right in. They're like, oh, you're an Air Force captain. And one of the younger enlisted people went out to the parking lot, took the sign off that said Captain Bach, and she was perturbed because I guess she's the one that had to make that sign. And anyway, that's my Coast Guard story. And what else do we have going on this weekend? Well, I worked on Bad Barbie all day, working on the Dracula situation, working on the book. I'm working hard, people. I got a ride in the back seat of an F-16. And I remember it was October the 11th, 1996. I remember the date. And a very good friend of mine was the pilot, and he gave me the ride. And the thing that stands out most in my mind about it was, we were at the end of the runway. He gets clearance to take off, and he, basically hits the afterburners, pulls up, and levels out. And the thing that struck me is I could not believe we were that high, that fast. I didn't barf, but I almost did. I didn't barf because I didn't eat, because everybody barfs. So I didn't eat all leading up. It was an afternoon flight. Now, in the Air National Guard, you're always the same place. It was the Atlantic City Air National Guard. Now, when I was in the military, I got to, for training, basic training was San Antonio, Texas. Then I got sent to, and this was cool, Lowry Air Force Base in Denver, Colorado. At the time, next door to that was a Air Guard base called Aurora Air National Guard. And they had these things called prairie dogs, like Bad Barbie's a side project. It's a short film. But prairie dogs were everywhere on that base. But Lowry had just been a teaching base and a school, like we learned electronics there. And I was there from March until October. And then I got sent to Nellis Air Force Base, Las Vegas, Nevada for 12 weeks. That was really cool. And then I came home, and I was home for a long time. And at one point, I got sent to Goose Bay, Labrador, Canada, and the sun didn't go down. The sun, like, it was at 11:30 at night. It was like sunset, because we were that far up north. And then where else was I? Oh, I got sent to. These are different places I've been. I never went overseas, but I went to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, which the strangest thing about Biloxi, Mississippi is they have casinos, but the casinos cannot be built on land. They have to be built on the water. So they would build like piers and put a casino up. Well, the problem is Biloxi took a direct hit like in the 60s from Camille, but it also got hit pretty bad in Katrina. So here you're building these billion-dollar casinos out on piers sticking over the ocean that every 10 years take a beating from a hurricane or less. Yeah, I was at Nellis Air Force Base for 12 weeks. And Biloxi, Mississippi. I'm trying to think if I went I went to Tucson Air National Guard Base for just a short time. The neatest military base I visited was San Diego Recruiting Depot. It's where one of the Marine Corps training bases. It's in San Diego. And I actually got to see a whale, like in person. You can see them here in Cape May, but I've never seen one. But Nellis Air Force Base is the home of the Thunderbirds. So got to see them. Their museum is there too. So there you got my life story. Other places I visited in life, I went to the Soviet Union. It was the Soviet Union then. And you guys have heard me tell this story. I went with a college, and I was in college. And we visited Leningrad, which used to be St. Petersburg, became Leningrad, and it's now back. It's been St. Petersburg after the fall of communism. And then I went there on a trip for like 10 days. And it was that was a unique experience. And while we were there, we were because it was still communist Russia, the tour guides were basically employees of the state of Russia. And so they weren't like independent tours. So it was very specific what you got to see. And like we saw a woolly mammoth and her baby that they had dug up in Siberia, and we got to their Air and Space Museum, and in it was Buran, which was their version of our space shuttle, which only ever flew once. And we just went on tours while we were there. And at the end of the tour, they took us to what is basically the equivalent of our Congress, where you would see the domed building of our Congress. Well, over there, it's a big yellow building, and it would have a CCCP, which their alphabet, which is Cyrillic, that was SSSR. And we were there. I'll find a picture sometime and show you of me out there with hair. And while we're there, all of a sudden, all these limousines and cars come pouring into the parking lot, and the police come over and escort us out, end the tour. Didn't know why. And it wasn't until we got back to JFK, because the news didn't say anything, that we got to see on the television that Lithuania had declared its independence. It was the first uh, country to leave the Soviet Union, and that was the collapse of communism. Although I think the goofball over there is trying to get back to that, but he's not having an easy time with Ukraine. That's just a mess. I was saying to Holly today, because we were talking about how Southern California is having its first tropical storm ever, they're saying. And in the midst of this today, while it's pouring rain there and they're getting winds they're not used to, they had an earthquake, 5.5, and a strong aftershock. And I'm thinking to myself, with the wildfires and the drought, there's currently over 200 cargo vessels backed up at the Panama Canal because of the drought. The water level's so low. So I don't know if that means they can still go through, but they have to go through slower. But there's that backup. And with all this stuff happening with the climate, I say I hope it's just like a phase that we say, oh, 2023 was a bad year weather-wise. But if something happens, what the fuck? We ain't got nowhere else to go but Earth. And I think to myself that since we haven't been to the moon in how long? Since 1970? So 70, 80, 90, 20, 2000. So 50 plus years, or 50 years at least. If we hadn't spent, and not just us, but all around the world, if people could just get along and we didn't have to spend so much money on wars and stuff, could you imagine what they could have done? I mean, not that ideally you'd want to live on the moon, but, if they build bubbles and they, basically terraform inside of them and make civilization. One of the problems you're not going to have is weather on the moon. It would be, we'd have someplace if we needed to, for at least some of civilization to continue. I just hope things You take them edibles tonight? Who? Me? I don't have any edibles. I wish I did. My source, I don't know where he is. That's a long story. A place we used to frequent quite a bit. A guy that worked there one day said, "Do you smoke weed?" I said, "No, I tried it. Didn't really like it." "You want to try some brownies?" So he used to sell me brownies and chocolate chip cookies. And we did them a couple times. But now weed's legal here. And I went in the place one day and it was, ugh. Well, we probably wouldn't be able to take Sable and Archer into a moon bubble because Sable doesn't know how to act. Actually, she's pretty good. Tonight was a good night for them. And this, that Neil deGrasse Tyson, I said this the other night. I love listening to that guy talk. He's doubtful of this UFO bullshit because he said, why is it like Bigfoot? We don't have, with all these clear cameras and all, we don't have any good pictures. So I'm going to stay on here until 10 p.m., which is another 12 minutes. So if you got any questions for me, now is the time to ask the questions. And the reason why the broadcast hasn't been interrupted is because yesterday I ran a network cable to the router. I have good Wi-Fi out here, but for some reason this particular program would always lock up on me. I don't know. Don't ask me why, folks. You guys play Wordle? I played Wordle last night. I already did it today. And I got it in 3. If you don't play Wordle, I suggest you give it a try. New York Times Wordle. Just type in Wordle. W-O-R-D, like word, L-E. I've never been good at crossword puzzles. Thank you, Miss Fernandez. Well, Holly used to play too, but she gave up, and I started when she was playing. And then a friend of mine, we would send each other periodically. You had the ability to share how you did, which doesn't give away the word. Oh, I know. That was a Chatty Cathy, Tiffany. That doll belonged to my sister. That thing is probably, I'm guessing, 60 years old. I wonder, it's got a battery compartment on it. I wonder if it would still work. I should try. My email today has died off, which is a pleasant break. Bad Barbie has a battery pack too. My favorite Twilight Zone episode was The Exchange. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Where there's a guy who his face is all deformed and they contact an alien civilization that agrees to do an exchange. They're going to send one of their citizens to live here on Earth, and we're sending a person from Earth to live there. And this guy, because he was disfigured and deformed, applied to go and got selected. And when he's on the runway, well, when he's on the walkway where the ship has landed with the alien being sent to Earth, and he's walking down the runway. Well, here, the walkway, here comes this normal looking guy, and he looks at him and he says, "Oh, you're going to be fine here." He says to the disfigured guy, and he's like, "What do you mean?" And then he walks by him, and at the end of the walkway are these 3 like flight attendants, and they look just like the disfigured guy. So apparently what had happened was when he was born, he is a member of this alien race, so they had done a swap many years ago. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. You guys remember Scatman Crothers? How about Bill Shatner, William Shatner? I act like I know him, calling him Bill. In Terror at 30,000 feet or something, and that was redone with John Lithgow in the movie back in the 80s. And Scatman Crothers was in that. Kick the Can. And also in that film, Vic Damaro died. They still kept it in the film, but a helicopter, him and two children, the helicopter crashed and he was decapitated. But Twilight Zone was 3 different 30-minute episodes, 30 different segments. Les. I think it could have been Outer Limits, but I think it was Twilight Zone. So anyway, folks, it's almost 10 o'clock. I've been on here babbling for an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, the kids they all died. Vic Morrow and the 2 kids. So, want to see something really scary? That was one of the In fact, Holly asked the other day about the scariest opening scene to a movie. That was it. When he said, you want to see something really scary? And he looked out the window and he looked back and he was like a werewolf. That scared the bejesus out of me. So anyway, folks, I'm going to end tonight. So I will end with my traditional ending. See you, love you, bye.